Good morning. At this time, can the sergeants please start your recording? Can the host please start the Zoom? Good morning and welcome to the New York City Council hearing of the Committee on Civil Service and Labor. At this time, can everyone please silence your cell phones? If you wish to testify today, please come up to the sergeant's desk and fill out a testimony slip. Written testimony can be emailed to testimony@council.nyc.gov. Again, that is testimony@council.nyc.gov. Thank you for cooperation. Chair, we are ready to begin.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. I am Councilmember Carmen De La Rosa, Chair of the Committee on Civil Service and Labor. Thank you all for joining today's hearing on support for New York City workers' unionization drives. Today's hearing will center on identifying support currently available to the burgeoning unionization campaigns across the private sector and on exploring new ways of providing support to workers organizing new unions and joining established ones. We will also be hearing the following resolutions. Resolutions 257, sponsored by Councilmember Caban, expressing solidarity with unionization drives across New York City's workforce and affirming the right to have a union elections free from anti-democratic union-busting practices. And Reso 131, sponsored by me, calling on Wendy's to join the Fair Food Program and support farm workers' human rights. The social and labor conditions created by the pandemic led many workers to pursue union organizing. The pandemic raised public awareness of essential workers and the injustices they face, creating concerns about skyrocketing inequality. We witnessed workers across the country grow increasingly vocal about their dissatisfaction with low wages, burdensome workloads, and minimal diversity across powerful companies. New York City workers began to organize in unconventional sectors, including journalists at the New York Times, graduate students at New York University, and employees at Starbucks. We saw high-profile victories at iconic companies such as Amazon, culminating in the Amazon Labor Union's election victory in Staten Island. I look forward to hearing from these workers and union leaders so that we can learn from their experiences and develop a responsive legislation to further protect New York's private sector workforce. The committee will investigate how the city can better educate employers about their obligations under workers' rights laws and explore whether stronger enforcement of labor laws is needed. This hearing is also a platform for workers in emerging unionization efforts to share their workplace struggles and identify the kind of institutional support that could help them realize their objectives. I also look forward to hearing from advocates who have called on Wendy's fast food chain to join the Fair Food Program in support of farm workers' rights. My resolution calls on Wendy's to join the Fair Food Program, which would ensure that Wendy's agrees to purchase food from participating growers who set humane labor standards and fair wages for their agricultural workers. Farm workers are asking for dignity, respect, and a fair wage, and I am proud to support this resolution. Lastly, I want to note that the administration declined to testify at today's hearing, but we acknowledge their efforts to educate employers and employees on New York City's municipal workforce protections. I'd like to thank the committee staff for their hard work in preparing for this hearing, Assistant Deputy Director Nick Cano, Policy Analyst Elizabeth Arts, as well as my staff, Chief of Staff James Burke, and my Deputy Chief of Staff Kiana Diaz. Now I will be reading Councilmember Tiffany Caban's statement on her resolution. Good morning. I am Councilmember Caban, and my pronouns are she, her. I first want to thank Chair Carmen De La Rosa for holding this hearing. I am sorry I could not be there in person today. Today, we are hearing my resolution 257, which expresses solidarity with unionization drives across New York City and affirms the right to have union elections free from anti-democratic union-busting practices. Over the last 2 years, we've seen lots of new organizing in our city, from Starbucks workers to Amazon to UPS drivers and university adjuncts and news and tech workers. Just today, the New York Times Guild is staging a walkout. There is no question that we're witnessing the emergence of a new and engaged labor movement here in our city, and it's been exciting to see many longstanding unions and their members stand in solidarity with workers organizing for the first time. But as has been the case with all worker-led movements of the past, opposition remains fierce. We've unfortunately seen too many companies engage in disgusting union-busting activities, firing workers who have organized or refusing to come to the bargaining table at all. While we at the council have limited legal authority to step in and put a stop to the egregious union-busting activity, given the federal labor law is the sole remedy for workers challenging anti-union activities, we do have a strong bully pulpit, and using it to stand with workers as we are today is without a doubt the morally right thing to do. Thank you, Elizabeth Arts, and my Legislative Director, Maudrey Sulka, for drafting the resolution, and to all of the workers who are here today to provide testimony. Great. So thank you. We thank Councilmember Tiffany Caban for submitting her testimony. And we also want to acknowledge that we've been joined by Councilmember Hanks, Councilmember Dinowitz, and Councilmember Nurse. Before we turn to testimony, please be aware of the following administrative matters. If you wish to testify at today's hearing, translation for your testimony is available in Spanish. If you are registered to testify, please listen for your name to be called. Witness names will be called in groups to facilitate council member questioning. Additionally, if you are testifying virtually via Zoom, council staff will unmute you when it is your turn to speak. Please be patient if you're not immediately unmuted. Each witness will be limited to 3 minutes. If you require a translator, you will be limited to 6 minutes to share between you and your translator. Please stop your testimony when the sergeant at arms calls time. Your understanding of these procedures is appreciated to ensure that everyone has the opportunity to be heard today. As a reminder, everyone can submit written testimony to testimony@council.nyc.gov up to 72 hours after the conclusion of today's hearing. Now we're ready to listen to our witnesses.
This is our first panel. You can read them in this order.
Okay. Our first panel will consist of Nelly Rodriguez, Wilson Perez, Gabriela Piñeros, Noel D'Amico, and Rabbi Margaret Hughes Robinson. If you could please come up to the dais. Should I announce that the interpreter's on Zoom?
Yeah.
Okay. And we're not acknowledging the members on Zoom yet. Okay. So our first two witnesses will be assisted by an interpreter that is on Zoom. El interpretador está en Zoom. So we will begin with Nelly Rodriguez and Wilson Perez. You may begin when you're ready. Pueden comenzar cuando estén listos.
Muchas gracias y buenos días a los miembros del Consejo. Mi nombre es Nelly Rodríguez y soy miembro del personal de la Coalición de Trabajadores de Immokalee. Y primero pues es agradecer al comité por darme la oportunidad de hablar un poquito sobre mi experiencia como trabajadora agrícola y también por considerar la resolución 131 que se está viendo el día de hoy. Como trabajadores estamos profundamente agradecidas con la consejera Carmen de la Rosa por apoyar y tomar la iniciativa en esta resolución y por unirse a nosotros, los trabajadores agrícolas. La Coalición de Trabajadores de Immokalee es una organización de derechos humanos. compuesta en su mayoría por trabajadores de Guatemala, de México y de Haití, trabajadores migrantes, agrícolas. La coalición fue creada para combatir las violaciones de derechos humanos que enfrentaban los trabajadores agrícolas. En aquellos años estábamos enfrentando estos abusos en los campos. Los abusos incluyen trabajos, por ejemplo, golpes físicos hacia los trabajadores, casos de robo de salario, acoso sexual para las mujeres y desafortunadamente la violencia sexual continúa siendo el pan nuestro de cada día para la mayoría de las trabajadoras agrícolas en los ranchos que están fuera del programa por comida justa. Hay un estudio que se hizo sobre las mujeres que enfrentan acoso sexual en la industria agrícola y el 80% de las trabajadoras han experimentado algún tipo de violencia sexual dentro de la agricultura de los Estados Unidos. En el 2011, la coalición creó el programa de comida justa con el objetivo de eliminar finalmente muchos de los abusos que han sido endémicos en la agricultura. El programa postula un código de conducta creado por los mismos trabajadores al que deben adherirse los ranchos participantes en este programa y al mismo tiempo requiere acuerdos legalmente vinculados con los compradores participantes para que garantice la implementación de este código de conducta en su cadena de surtidores. Si un rancho que es parte del programa de comida justa viola este código de conducta, ya no podrá vender sus productos a los compradores que están participando en este programa, lo que crea una consecuencia de mercado masivas para los ranchos que no dan la prioridad a las protecciones de derechos humanos de los trabajadores agrícolas. En los últimos años, los trabajadores agrícolas hemos pedido por diferentes maneras y por diferentes medios a Wendy's que se una al programa, ya que Wendy's es la única empresa de las 5 principales de comida rápida que aún no se ha unido a este programa. Queremos que Wendy's se una y sea parte de la solución al problema y que garantice que los trabajadores agrícolas en su cadena de surtidores sean tratados con la dignidad y el respeto que merecen. Les pedimos a los miembros del Consejo que nos ayuden a que Wendy's venga a la mesa del diálogo y que así asegure que se reciba el mensaje y que los neoyorquinos sepan, ¿verdad?, que están apoyando a los trabajadores agrícolas y que apoyan a esta resolución 131. Gracias.
Now we will hear from the interpreter's testimony, el interpretador primero y luego puede seguir.
¿Me está escuchando?
Sí. Se escucha.
Ok. Espere un segundito. Okay. Good morning, council members. My name is Nelly Rodriguez, and I'm in the farm worker staff. Members with the coalition of Immokalee workers. First, I want to thank the committee for giving me the opportunity to talk about my experience as a farm worker and for considering Resolution 0131-2022 today. I'm deeply grateful to CM Carmen de la Rosa for taking lead on this resolution and standing alongside us, farm workers. The coalition is in Mokele, excuse my my pronunciation, workers, CIW, is a human rights organization made up of mostly migrants, farm workers hailing from countries such as Mexico, Guatemala, and Haiti. The coalition was created to combat the human rights violations farm workers were facing in fields. These abuses include workers being physically assaulted, cases of wage theft, forced labor, and for many women working in the fields, sexual violence. Unfortunately, the sexual violence continues to be the daily bread for most farm worker women, with studies showing upwards of 80% of farm worker women experiencing some form of it. In 2011, to address these human rights violations, the CIW created a fair food program, FFP, with the goal of finally eliminating many of the abuses that have been endemic in agriculture. The
Time has
FFP,
expired.
hello?
Please conclude.
Okay. The FFP posits a code of conduct created by farm workers themselves that participating farms must adhere to, while also requiring legally binding agreements with participating buyers and ensures the implementation of this code in their supply chain. If a farm violates the code of conduct, then they are no longer able to sell their produce to the participating buyers, creating a massive market
Expired.
consequences. Okay.
Thank you. So now we will hear from Wilson Perez. Wilson, por favor, puede comenzar.
Good morning. I'm going to be reading on behalf of Wilson Perez, his statement in English.
Thank you.
So good morning, council members. My name is Wilson Perez, and I'm a farm worker staff member with the Coalition of Immokalee Workers. As you heard from my coworker Nelly, we are here in support of Resolution 0131, a resolution that calls on Wendy's to join the Fair Food Program. The importance of this resolution being passed comes at no greater time, as we are currently seeing an uptick in cases of modern-day slavery all over the country. In CIW's history, we've been able to investigate and bring to light 9 cases of modern-day slavery, freeing thousands of workers from these kinds of conditions. Unfortunately, in these last 2 years, we have seen 2 other cases of forced labor in farms outside of our Fair Food Program. These cases have been investigated by the Department of Justice, where it has been found that workers were not only provided adequate housing, many of the workers had their lives threatened, as well as the lives of their families, and in some of the most extreme cases, some workers were sexually assaulted, and some even lost their lives. Unfortunately, many companies continue purchasing from farms that allow these types of conditions to exist, or stand idly by hoping that it doesn't happen at their farm. Speaking on these cases, the Department of Customs and Border called on the industry for, quote, more investment in worker-driven solutions, an example of which is the Fair Food Program. This advice should not be ignored by corporations like Wendy's. Over the last several years, hundreds of thousands of farm worker supporters, including New York City students, faith leaders, and community members, who you'll hear from today, and elected officials, some of which are in this room, have called on Wendy's top decision maker and board chair, Nelson Peltz, a New York City-based billionaire, to use his power and get Wendy's to join the Fair Food Program. Ignoring these calls, Peltz has continuously refused to take any meaningful action to ensure farm workers in Wendy's supply chain can work free from modern-day slavery, sexual violence, and other abuses. His hedge fund, Trian Partners, is based in Manhattan and is one of the largest shareholders in Wendy's. For this reason, we're here, calling on the New York City Council members to use their voice to stand alongside farm workers and pass Resolution 0131 and call on Wendy's to join the Fair Food Program. Thank you for your time and for your consideration.
Thank you, gracias. Up next, we have Gabriela Piñeros. Gabriela, you here? Okay, we'll come back to this one.
Good morning and thank you. I'm Noelle D'Amico, Director of Social Justice at the Workers' Circle, a national secular Jewish social justice organization headquartered right here on West 37th Street in New York City. We've got over 25,000 members across the country, 6,000 of whom reside right here in the 5 boroughs. The Workers' Circle was founded in 1900 by Eastern European Jewish immigrants laboring in the sweatshop garment district. Our founders helped forge the American labor movement, taking to the streets and petitioning government to end and prevent worker exploitation and ensure worker rights. Today, we continue that struggle, and I come before you to urge your support for Fair Food Resolution 0131-2022. The Workers' Circle members have marched with the Coalition of Immokalee Workers and thousands of New Yorkers on our city streets. We've boycotted Wendy's to bring this fast food giant into the Fair Food Program. You may know us also because of the calls and postcards that our members have sent to you as members of New York City Council, urging your support for the resolution before us. I want you to just close your eyes for a moment and imagine with me. I want you to imagine that you're taking a drive outside the city on one of those beautiful summer days where the blue sky sparkles, and you see a farm stand advertising fresh produce. As you pull in, the car's tires crackle against the rocky drive. You get out, you select some plump tomatoes, lovely lettuce, and as the young attendant is putting these into a bag and you're getting out your cash, you suddenly hear screams in the field adjacent to the stand. You stop and you see a crew leader beating a farm worker and yelling slurs. What would you do? What would you do? Well, you might call the police. At the very least, I'm confident that you would put away your money and walk away from that stand. The tomatoes on your salad from Wendy's are no different. They just come through a supply chain that insulates us as consumers from the violence, exploitation, sexual assault, and daily fear that farm workers face in fields outside the Fair Food Program. But these shameful conditions, which include forced labor, continue and will continue unless and until consumers, corporations, leaders like you step up to partner with farm workers to stop it. There is a solution, a proven solution that's internationally recognized called the Fair Food Program, with a proven solution in hand that can not only stop but prevent farmer exploitation. It is unconscionable that Wendy's refused to join this program. This morning, I'm one of tens of thousands of New Yorkers calling on you, in the words of Jewish tradition, to not stand idly by, but to act. Vote your support for the New York City Council Fair Food Resolution 0131-2022. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I also want to acknowledge we've been joined by Councilmember Bottcher and call on, let's see. That's it? That's for this panel? Okay, so we can ask some questions. Okay, well, we're gonna ask some questions of this panel. First of all, I wanna say that it's shameful that Wendy's, a corporation that seeks to increase its bottom line in our city, is the only fast food chain that has not joined the Fair Food Program. And so I use this microphone in this moment to denounce Wendy's and their actions that have violated the human rights of agricultural workers in our state, in our city. And I wanna thank the workers and everyone else who is here for ensuring that your voices today could express. Yeah, there was another. Oh, right here. Yeah, sorry, I made a mistake. We forgot to call Rabbi Margaret Hughes Robinson. I apologize.
No worries.
My cards got shuffled. But let me just finish that thought. I just want to say that we are appreciative. I know that some of you have traveled long distances to be here to expose some of these abuses, and we welcome you to New York City. And we share your commitment to make sure that there is justice in this wrong treatment of agricultural workers. And so we want to thank you for using your voices today to elevate the voices of our brothers and sisters who are agricultural workers that couldn't be here today to talk to us about the horrors that they've been through. And so we look forward to also making sure that we give justice to this resolution and that we're able to pass it in New York City Council. So with that, I'm sorry, I'm gonna pass it over to Rabbi Margaret Hughes Robinson. I apologize.
No worries at all.
Go ahead.
I'm grateful for the opportunity to submit this testimony to the committee. My name is Rabbi Margot Hughes Robinson. I use she and her pronouns, and I'm the New York organizer at TRUA, the Rabbinic Call for Human Rights, as well as a proud New Yorker. And I'm up here today as a supporter and partner of the Coalition of Immokalee Workers, who, as you've heard, is an award-winning human rights organization that works to protect farm workers from abusive conditions in agricultural fields across the country. TRUA has worked in partnership with the CIW for over a decade, bringing Jewish clergy from all over North America to Immokalee, Florida, to deepen their commitment to farm workers and the protection of their rights. I'm grateful to this committee and to its chair, Siem De La Rosa, for holding this hearing, and urge you to pass 0131, the resolution calling on Wendy's to join the Fair Food Program and support farm workers' human rights. The UN Special Rapporteur on Human Trafficking has acknowledged the Fair Food Program as, quote, an international benchmark against modern-day slavery. The Fair Food Program is a partnership that benefits everyone in the supply chain: workers, growers, retailers, and consumers. Because of the program's unique approach, farm workers can confidently report issues in the fields without fear. Participating growers can swiftly and competently address any problems and learn how to prevent them. And participating buyers can count on a secure and ethical supply chain. Workers benefit from the elimination of sexual assault, forced labor, and violence. They can clock in and clock out, ensuring that they are actually paid for all the hours that they work, and benefit from improved working conditions, including guaranteed protections around basics such as shade, water, bathrooms, pesticide exposure, excessive heat, and other health and safety issues that have been exacerbated through the pandemic. 0131 has already gained, as you've heard, monumental support from a broad cross-section of New Yorkers, including students, religious, political, and financial community leaders, as well as organizations across the city who have supported these efforts for years. In 2019, the New York Women's Caucus wrote a powerful letter to Wendy's in support of the resolution, and more recently, Former Manhattan Borough President Ruth Messenger penned an op-ed in the Gotham Gazette calling on the council to act swiftly, quote, to send a message to Wendy's about how much New York values human dignity and worth. And when investors representing over $1 trillion in assets managed sent a letter to Wendy's in 2021 urging the company to join the Fair Food Program to address, quote, the dire consequences of COVID-19 and of systemic racism, unquote, the Office of the New York City Comptroller was among the investors who signed. My own Jewish tradition demands fair treatment of the worker and instills in me a deep reverence for the humanity of every individual, all the more so folks whose labor nourishes us in the most essential way and contributes to our well-being through agricultural work. I again urge you to pass 0131 and to call on Wendy's to participate in the Fair Food Program so that it may continue its business with greater transparency and accountability to all of the workers who support our food systems. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you. I appreciate it. And apologize again for the mishap. So I do have some general questions for this panel. Whoever would like to answer, that's fine. So tell us how the Fair Food Program ensures that participating growers comply with humane labor standards and wages. Explain to us what the benefit of participating in the Fair Food Program would be.
Sí, como no, algo que hemos visto, ¿verdad? Y escuchado son testimonios de los mismos trabajadores cuando por primera vez las mujeres trabajadoras estaban escuchando del programa, fueron las primeras en que llamaron a la línea de quejas que tiene el programa de comida justa. Es un número que está abierto las 24 horas del día y los 7 días de la semana. Vamos a los campos a hacer la plática con los trabajadores de cuáles son los derechos que tienen en ese rancho que es participante del programa. Se habla que es acoso sexual y cómo las mujeres pueden reportar a los patrones que hacían acoso con ellas. Fueron las primeras mujeres que empezaron a hacer reportes de acoso mediante lo que es la educación que hacemos. El trabajador aprende sobre sus derechos. Hay auditorías que se hacen por un tercer partido que entrevistan directamente en los field los investigadores al más del 50% de los trabajadores sobre cuáles son los problemas que ellos enfrentan, si tienen quejas, es cómo funciona el sistema de quejas, las auditorías, y también mediante lo que es la presión de mercado que existe para los rancheros cuando no están cumpliendo, si hay una violación de derechos humanos dentro del Código de Conducta.
Yeah. So the way that the Fair Food Program ensures that these kinds of abuses are being addressed, we can look at an example of this is the experience of farm worker women who had experienced sexual harassment and sexual violence historically working in the fields. When the Fair Food Program was first introduced, many of these farm worker women used one of the mechanisms to protect farm workers, which is a 24/7 hotline where farm workers can call anonymously if they wish to do so, speak out against an abuse, to file a complaint about a problem that they have faced. Many farm worker women, when we implemented the program, made use of that 24/7 hotline, called anonymously to talk about abuses that had happened, sometimes recently, sometimes years before the program had even existed. On top of that, another element that ensures that these farm workers are being protected is what we call the worker-to-worker education sessions. Farm workers with CIW go to the participating farms, and we talk about what constitutes sexual harassment, what constitutes sexual violence, educating fellow workers about what rights they have, what protections they're entitled to, and if those rights are being trampled, what to do. What are the mechanisms for you to speak out against the abuse that you're facing? This is supposed to work in combination with a third element, which is the Fair Food Standards Council, which is a third-party monitoring organization that ensures that these protections are actually reaching the farm workers, and do so by auditing the farms. They go and interview over 50% of the workforce at a specific farm and create corrective action plans that they give to the farms, ensuring that the farms know what they can do to better their operations and to be adhering to the code of conduct of the Fair Food Program. If these three mechanisms together don't work, and the farm workers and these farms decide to not protect, to not do anything about the abuse that is happening, that is where the corporate partners come in, the market power. The participating farms are not allowed to sell to these massive corporations that have joined the Fair Food Program, corporations like Walmart, McDonald's, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods. They're not allowed to sell to these brands until they're complying with the Code of Conduct of the Fair Food Program.
And why is Wendy's resisting signing on?
Sí, una de las cosas, la verdad no hemos tenido una respuesta durante estos 10 años de campaña con Wendy's que hemos estado exigiendo y pidiendo que se una al programa de comida justa. No puedo decir es por esto y por esto porque no nos ha dado la cara, no ha dado una respuesta a los trabajadores. No sabemos cuál es la causa principal, pero sí lo que pensamos es porque es falta de ego de parte de Wendy's. No quiere perder su poder, me imagino yo, porque al unirse al programa de comida justa es un programa que tiene consecuencias reales para una corporación que no está acostumbrada a cumplir con derechos humanos para trabajadores. ¿Por qué hemos visto esto? Recientemente hubo una operación de la aduana fronteriza en México que pararon un cargamento de tomate que venía de México hacia Estados Unidos. El distribuidor más grande era un ex surtidor de Wendy's que estaba trayendo ese tomate. No podemos asegurar que ese cargamento venía para Wendy's, pero la aduana lo detuvo porque había una investigación en México de trabajadores que estaban sufriendo violencia, acoso con las mujeres, y había casos de esclavitud de niños también en este rancho que traía ese cargamento a México y era un surtidor de Wendy's. No estamos diciendo que era Wendy's, pero está pasando esto recientemente, muchos casos de esclavitud moderna que hay en la cadena de surtidores. Por eso exigimos que Wendy's se una al programa.
Yeah. So unfortunately, our guess is as good as yours in terms of why Wendy's hasn't joined the Fair Food Program. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to receive a response directly from Wendy's for them to show their face and to speak directly to the farm worker community of Immokalee and let them know this is why we haven't joined the program for X, Y, and Z reasons. But what we do know is the track record that Wendy's does have. Or we can guess that perhaps they don't want an oversight, this type of robust oversight that requires consequences, requires action, that isn't just a label with empty promises, but requires you to stop purchasing when abuse like this exists. What leads us to believe this is, for example, the fact that just this past year, a shipment of tomatoes that was coming from Mexico to the United States was stopped by the U.S. Customs and Border because the shipment was coming from farms where there was rampant child labor, rampant sexual violence, and even forced labor. This shipment was mostly coming from a farm that some years ago we know was selling directly to Wendy's, right? And so we don't know if they continue being a business partner of Wendy's. We don't know because there is no transparency in Wendy's operation. But what we do know is that outside of the Fair Food Program, those kinds of conditions, wage theft, physical abuse, child labor, rampant gender-based violence, and forced labor are the norm in agriculture. And the only way to address that correctly, or at least the best way to address that, is by joining the Fair Food Program.
Thank you so much. I want to pass it on to my colleague, Councilmember Nurse.
Good morning. I didn't really have a question. I just wanted to express my solidarity with you all. Been boycotting Wendy's for a long time. In 2018, I had, back in the day, maybe like 10, 11 years ago, I had helped start an organizing center called Mayday Space, and in 2018, I think you all had a march up here to like break the silence against the sexual violence happening, and you all made all these big, beautiful signs at our space, and I know that you all have been fighting for this for a really long time, and I just wanted to say that we stand with you. I think it's shameful what Wendy's is doing, and I really encourage as many of our colleagues as possible to boycott Wendy's and use their platforms to call out this egregious behavior. And it just continues to baffle me that the farm, the fish industry, I mean, it is all thriving off of slavery and forced servitude in dark corners and places where there's not a lot of visibility. It's thriving off of a broken immigration system. It's thriving off of just absolute violence against women and workers. So standing with you all, and I'm really grateful that this resolution is here and that you're holding this hearing, Chair. So just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Nurse. Councilmember Boucher.
There are other chains that also have not joined the Fair Food, as Burger King and other, are they all part of it?
Yeah, so I can quickly respond to this one. So 14 of the biggest food corporations in the world are participating in the Fair Food program. Chains like Walmart, Whole Foods, McDonald's, Burger King, Chipotle, Subway are all participating. Of the top 5 largest fast food corporations, Wendy's is actually the only holdout. All of their other major competitors have joined.
I want to ask a specific question. In 2019, the state legislature passed the Farm Labor's Fair Labor Practice Act, which gave farm workers the right to organize and collectively bargain. I was proud to be a member of the legislature and vote for that bill. I think it's one of our proudest moments and a long time coming as far as protecting farm workers' rights in New York. Have any of the participating farm workers that you know of successfully unionized? And if so, how has it benefited them? What are the changes that we can see from unionizing efforts for farm workers, if you know?
Yes, so as a farm worker organization, we're very well aware of other movements and other work that's being done by farm worker organizations to hopefully bring this industry from out the endemic abuses that farm workers face. The Fair Food Program, its scope, for the most part, extends from 90% of Florida's tomato industry, goes up the East Coast to farms that harvest tomatoes, green peppers, strawberries, even peaches. The scope of it, though, has not extended yet to the state of New York at that moment. And so we don't have firsthand experience of how this unionization drive has been affecting farms because we're not in New York. But I do want to mention this, that this kind of legislation finally passed in the state of New York in 2019 in the liberal pillar that is New York State. Outside of New York and the rest of the United States, farm workers are left out of the right to be able to unionize and to collectively bargain. That's the reason why the Coalition of Immokalee Workers exists in its forms, because most farm workers are not able to advocate for themselves, are not able to collectively bargain, do not get paid overtime, do not get paid, don't have sick pay days, don't have access to health care. So indeed, what happened with New York, I'm sure, is a step in the right direction for the industry as a whole in the state of New York, but outside of the state of New York, much of the industry is still in the backwater in terms of its abuses and protections and rights.
Thank you for that answer. And I guess that's why it's important for this council to also pass this resolution, right? Because as New York City does, the world follows, or so we hope. Can you speak a little bit to that? Like, what would be the impact of us being able to advance this resolution?
Sí, como les dije al principio, estamos aquí por muchos años en la ciudad de Nueva York por una causa. Aquí en Nueva York está el presidente de la mesa directiva, está la oficina principal de Wendy's. Y ya por muchos años mucha gente se ha unido a esta lucha. Tenemos muchas iglesias, muchas denominaciones que nos han estado apoyando y tenemos todo para que esto haga un impacto bien grande en proteger derechos humanos de los trabajadores que están surtiendo a Wendy's su tomate. Y eso, ¿verdad?, sería como parte del impacto, es acabar con estas violaciones, acabar con que Wendy's siga comprando en ranchos donde hay explotación de niños, donde hay el acoso sexual de mujeres. Vamos a tener ya una transparencia más mejor, una visión más clara de cuáles son los negocios con los que está Wendy's trabajando, porque esto es lo que está pasando hoy en día, que muchos trabajadores que están ahorita viniendo a Estados Unidos, por ejemplo, con la visa H-2A, hemos recibido muchísimos casos, 3 en un año, de miles de trabajadores que habían estado trabajando, viniendo a Estados Unidos a trabajar en la agricultura con visa H-2A. Esto es un problema y es el futuro de la agricultura. Entonces, el traer a otra corporación más y el traer a los trabajadores a estas protecciones, eso sería un impacto bien fuerte, que es lo que queremos nosotros, parar estos abusos.
Yeah, the impact of New York City passing this resolution, it would have a massive impact for many reasons. First and foremost, because New York City has been one of the epicenters for the Wendy's campaign. And as CIW has traveled here for many years to do marches, to protest, to fast, outside of the offices of the board chairman and majority owner of Wendy's, who is based here in New York City, Nelson Peltz. And so for New York City, for students, for people of faith, for elected officials to say, we're no longer okay with companies turning a blind eye to the abuses happening in the industry, but instead taking a stand to being proactive in addressing these kinds of abuses, will be a massive way to pressure Wendy's to join this fair food program. And the main reason, again, is because we want to expand these protections, these basic protections, to more and more workers. For example, like we mentioned, over the past 2 years, there have been 2-3 cases of forced labor that have come up. One of them, and I'm adding this, one of the biggest forced labor cases in modern U.S. history just happened last year. These are not workers who are immigrating here illegally. These are workers who are here through the H-2A visa program. So they've done everything in their part to come in here, to work, and to do a decent day of work. And instead, they're met with these kinds of abusive conditions because the industry is organized in that way. By expanding the Fair Food Program, by getting Wendy's to join the Fair Food Program, we make these kinds of protections the norm rather than the exception to how the industry is currently organized, and we can protect more and more workers, eliminating these kinds of abuses.
Thank you so much. We've been joined by Councilmember Feliz as well. Well, I just want to say how grateful I am for the ability to introduce this resolution on your behalf, on behalf of the workers. I personally am boycotting Wendy's. I hope that New Yorkers across the city will join us in showing this corporate giant that they cannot come in to our city and boast of having business in the biggest, best city in the world and exploit migrant workers, exploit agricultural workers. And so we thank you so much for coming here today, and we are so grateful for your testimony. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Up next, we will have a virtual panel made up of Austin Locke, Starbucks Workers United, and James Carr, Starbucks Workers United. You may begin when you're ready.
Time has started.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
All right, so my name is Austin Locke. Thank you everybody for having us. I'm a 6-year worker at Starbucks in New York City and South Florida. So shout out to locally. I'm also a member of Starbucks Workers United and Restaurant Workers Union. I was fired July 5th, 5 days after we won our union election with Starbucks Workers United at Ditmars Boulevard in Astoria. Starbucks gave me 2 reasons for my firing. They said I falsely reported workplace violence and that I was violating Starbucks health and safety standards. Both are untrue, and other workers have never been fired for those 2 reasons, including another worker who falsely reported workplace violence against me years prior and admitted he lied and he was transferred to another store. at our store, there was promotions offered to the supervisors to union bust. In addition to the day of my firing, they called the cops on me. Management called the cops. They actually called 911 and had me removed for no reason. I wasn't doing anything. This has also taken a toll on my mental health. I've had, to get on medicine now. I've had to talk to psychiatrists and stuff. It's just an awful situation. But at our store in Ditmars Boulevard in Astoria, we're constantly short-staffed, as it is elsewhere. I've worked in Florida. It's the same thing. We've asked for more staffing. We've even provided a letter to our boss and no response. We've been underscheduled. Workers are getting less hours than they actually want. Minor workers are actually asked to do tasks they're legally not allowed to, like lifting heavy trash. Pregnant workers are made to do heavy lifting, and I've confronted bosses about this. Workplace injuries have gone unreported by management. Management never handles violent customers, abusive customers, and they're allowed to return. And a litany of other things that escape my mind right now. But the city is suing Starbucks through New York City's Just Cause law on my behalf. Starbucks was negotiating with me and the lawyers, but they backed out of the agreement last second. They will do anything they can do to fight the union, and we need to do everything we can to win a contract. I want to call on New York City Council to strengthen the Just Cause law being used in my case and protect it from being dismantled, as well as call on our elected officials to make sure that what happened to me does not happen to other workers in New York City. Thank you, and I believe that's my time.
Thank you so much. James Carr.
Hello, my name is James. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My name is James, and I work at a retail location for Starbucks, actually right down the street from Austin. We work in Queens. I work at a unionized location. And during the months between our union card submissions and the election, there were no instances I can recount in which management denied federal rights to workers. And in fact, during the time leading up to our election, management generally stayed averse to the risk of confronting workers over the matter of their union. So our experience pre-election was vastly different than other locations who experienced rampant union busting. But our experience after the election changed. And since the election, our location's management has become a repressive social apparatus by which to gradually starve the location of union participation by intimidating and outrightly violating workers. The discriminatory actions of management range wildly, and it's creating a massive divide between us, obviously. And management does violate workers' federally protected rights, but most horribly, they violate workers along the class lines that they enforce through abusive behavior. And they remind us every day in insidious ways of their presumptively permanent power over us. And so I believe the committee can help a lot of workers who are disempowered in the following ways. One, I want the committee to call for worker-empowered arbitration between workers and management in the event that workers organize a union and cannot reach a contract because of management's refusal to acknowledge the union. Two, I would like the committee to call for employers not to reduce their number of staff following a union election. Despite Fair Work Week laws, management can still starve locations of labor and subsequently commit to operating the locations so dismally that workers have no choice but to leave, thus allowing management to eventually rebuild that starved location with company-authorized non-organizers. And three, I would call for the committee to try to protect workers' wages, specifically union workers' wages. So our management states they legally cannot increase union workers' wages because the wages weren't negotiated over, but they refuse to negotiate or even acknowledge the union. So this obviously implies there is no way management will ever increase our wages. So I want you to call to ensure union workers' wages rise with inflation before a contract is negotiated over wages with management. And four, I want to call on the committee to adopt gradually increasing minimum wage against inflation laws, because we're in a position where we cannot keep up. And I believe that's all the time I have. Thank you for having me.
Thank you both so much for coming to testify. I do have a few questions for you. I just want to say first, James, that yesterday the council passed a resolution calling for minimum wage to be tied to inflation. And so the council has voiced our support for the state bills that would do that. The council doesn't have the authority to, raise the wage ourselves, but we do support New York State doing that. And so, that's already one win. I appreciate your suggestions for the committee to look at, and we will be following up. But I did have a question specifically about organizing tools that you all have at your disposal. So did in your experience, did you reach out to DCWP to file a confidential complaint for violation of workers' rights when you were in the beginning of your process of organizing? Any of you can answer, Austin or James.
You mean in regards to the hours?
Yes, any violations?
I'm not sure. I think we floated the idea at my store, but it wasn't severe enough, I guess. But
so we've noticed this just starting to happen recently, and we're in the midst of doing a kind of deep dive into their descheduling trends, because this is something they've realized they can tactically start to do, is evade Fair Workweek laws while still manipulating labor forecasting in a way that can basically starve union locations. So we haven't filed on that yet with DCWP. We're still collecting data on like general trend, like downturns in labor trends at these stores, because it's something that we've been noticing like over the last month or so. So we have that in the works right now. We haven't formally filed. It's just been over specific individuals, but we're trying to target them on a larger scale.
Got it. And what kind of assistance would have been useful in your efforts to organize? Like if you could have more support, what type of assistance would have been helpful?
It's just the matter that they have so much power that they can violate us on a federal basis and it still doesn't matter. And that's where sometimes your city can, honestly, I'm still learning about how to suggest the city can help unionizing workers, because when companies are this powerful, it's hard to come up with something for the city to do that Starbucks is even going to take seriously. But I would suggest we can reach out to you about like some of the great worker programs that we have around the city. And I think something as simple as community affairs and linking up worker coalitions could be really healthy in giving people an opportunity to organize in a healthier manner and with more knowledge. Yeah, that's all I can suggest right now.
And what about having, for example, if the Department of Consumer Affairs and Worker Protection were to be able to provide more educational resources or more technical support and things like that, do you think that would make a difference in helping to organize, and helping to organize your drives?
I absolutely think so. We're doing a lot of the workers with the union, the Starbucks Workers United Union, and just a lot of community activists are participating with, CWE and some publicly funded teach-in programs that help spread the word on organizing conversations and organizing strategies to people who might not be organized and are looking to actively organize in their community. So any sponsorship of, publicly funded organizing teach-ins would be welcome.
Okay.
I also think, sorry to interrupt, but just more, pamphlets and signs inside of workplaces. I only see a few in the bathroom, and I don't see much about Department of Consumer and Workplace Protections. So that would be helpful.
Great. And what about captive audience meetings? So, you know, when an employer kind of calls a meeting together to try and dissuade folks from joining unions, was that part of your experience? Did you, were those some of the tactics that were used in your situation?
My story, it wasn't so much captive audience meetings. They had one-on-ones and like two-on-ones with workers. And those were the workers that we weren't able to get any information out of. They were ostensibly like anti-union after these conversations. So we're assuming they were told to union bus.
Yeah, we never had, I don't think the resources were ever directed to our location to do a formal meeting about it, but they've still, you know, used the tools that go into those meetings to find ways to manipulate people. You know, just the concept of getting someone alone in a room to talk to them is all they need, and they find ways to prey on weaker people who they know don't know their federal rights and their rights as well, who they can pressure. And it's literally a matter of physically isolating people in parts of the store and nabbing them at times where they're unsuspecting and scaring people and intimidating them and lying to them and being abusive. So those tactics that go into those meetings are used on an everyday basis, whether they're formal meetings or not. So we haven't had one of those meetings, but we undergo the same stresses that those meetings cause for people.
Thank you. I appreciate both of your testimony today. I also appreciate you alluding to some of the mental health concerns for the workers of our city. We've seen that issue bubble up, and we know that increased stress increases people's reaction, and mental health is something that we should be guarding. And so I am grateful for you all coming in and shedding light on the work you're doing. And we look forward to continuing to support your efforts over at Starbucks. So thank you so much. Up next, we're going to call on an in-person panel. We have Melissa Stein, David Osoko, I probably pronounced that wrong, apologize, Andre Solin, and Sinead Wadsworth. If you all are here in person.
It's a mix. There may be one virtual participant.
Okay, and there might be one virtual participant in that panel. And please clarify your name. If I butchered it, I apologize. Since we do have one panelist here who's virtual, I'm going to call on Melissa Stein first. If you're on the Zoom, if you could begin testifying when you're ready, and then we'll continue with the rest of our panel. Thank you for your patience.
Good morning, Chair De La Rosa and members of the Council's Committee on Civil Service and Labor. My name is Melissa Stein, and I am the campaign lead for Communications Workers of America, District 1. Communications Workers of America, District 1 represents more than 150,000 workers in the private and public sector who work in telecommunications and information technology, news media, broadcast and cable television, education, healthcare, public service, and other fields in New York, New Jersey, and New England. In New York City, we represent over 20,000 workers. We're here today in support of the resolution affirming the right to have union elections free from anti-democratic union-busting practices. New York City is a union town, so it is only right for the council to make this statement of support for the rights of workers to organize freely. Workers make the city run, and the pandemic made it clear that unions can be the difference between life and death in our workplaces. Unionized workers earn higher wages, on average $191 more per week than their non-union counterparts. Union workers are likely to have much better benefits. Workplaces tend to be safer, lowering the risk of death, illness, and injury on the job. And most importantly, with a union, workers have a voice on the job. That's why more and more workers are joining together and demanding a voice at work. We've seen it in CWA. Over the past few years, we have organized more workers than we have ever before. Workers at multi-billion-dollar corporations, once considered unorganizable, like Apple or Google, have joined CWA. And it's not just CWA. We have seen a historic rise in organizing all across the country. In the first half of this year, unions won 641 elections, the most in nearly 20 years. Workers from nearly every industry in our country are joining together to demand change at their workplaces. We have seen stunning victories at places like Starbucks, Amazon, Trader Joe's, REI, and Activision Blizzard. Recent polls show that over 70% of Americans support unions, the highest levels we have seen since 1965, and a vast majority of them support forming a union in their workplace. Where is this wave coming from? There are probably many things we can point to. People living through a global pandemic, seeing that their employers care little about their health and welfare was surely a wake-up call. A tighter labor market coming out of the pandemic increased workers' leverage on the job. At the same time, workers facing student debt, inflation, rising housing costs, and the possibilities of an economic recession definitely makes the need to organize more urgent. When organizing a union, workers take huge risks. There is an entire industry working nonstop to block workers from exercising their rights to free and fair union elections. That's why this resolution is so important. Today, in more than 40% of all union organizing elections, employers are charged with breaking the law. They lie, they threaten, and coerce. I'm sorry, was that time?
Yes, time has expired.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you coming today and testifying. We know CWA has been leader in many of the equity fights for our workers. We appreciate your voice here today. I'm gonna call on David Oscasos. Oscos, I'm sorry. Please begin your testimony.
Today. Oh, there we go. Hey, good morning, and thanks for the opportunity for me to testify today. My name is David Oscos, and I'm an organizer with the Retail, Wholesale, and Department Store Union, or RWDSU. Represent over 40,000 workers in New York. We organize workers in apparel retail, grocery stores, food processing, warehousing, cannabis, nonprofits, and other low-wage sectors. I would first like to take a moment to appreciate the leadership of City Council and this committee for supporting workers' rights and the right to organize free from intimidation and coercion. It is important for workers who are being attacked by their employers to see that the elected leaders of this city have their back. We support both resolutions before the committee and encourage their passage. I would specifically like to comment today on unionization drives and why it is so important for the City Council to support these efforts. We are in a special moment in history right now. Young workers in particular are actively standing up for their rights in the workplace and demanding union recognition. These workers are so steadfast in their desire for collective action that they are even self-organizing where no traditional unions are around to help. This is truly a movement moment. Also, these workers aren't afraid to hold progressive employers like REI and Housing Works accountable to the image that they present to the public. What we have learned from organizing workers at progressive employers like REI and Housing Works is that progressive employers are often extremely conservative when it comes to employees having a voice on the job. At REI, where workers recently voted overwhelmingly to join the RWDSU, REI coordinated a strong anti-union campaign that was only countered by the fearlessness and determination of the REI workers. At Housing Works, where we finally won a first contract, we've been fighting against one of the most anti-union white shoe law firms in the country, hired by Housing Works to oppose unionization. If such intimidation and coercion occur at progressive employers, you can only imagine what happens elsewhere. Without support from City Council, these fights would have been even harder. I'll never forget the press conference outside of Housing Works with several council members in which we demanded true neutrality from the employer. It provided a boost to worker morale and put the employer on notice. It should be highlighted that this effort at Housing Works occurred before the social service labor piece requirement for city contractors was in place. The effort would have surely been easier under this new law. Lastly, I'd like to note that New York City can do more than solidarity actions and resolutions. The city should expand its requirement for labor peace for city contractors to other industries, that not just social services. In addition, it should expand labor peace for subsidized projects beyond where it exists for retail and warehousing. All publicly funded projects should be required to protect freedom of association in the workplace. On behalf of RWDSU's membership and leadership, I'd like to thank you for your time and support. Thanks.
Thank you so much also for your leadership. Up next, we're gonna call on Andre Solon.
Yes, good morning. My name is Andre Solin, and I'm a worker on strike at United Metro in Brooklyn. Thank you to Committee Chair De La Rosa for having me today and listening to my story. My union brothers and I have been on strike for 600 days. 600 days right here in New York City. We're fighting for fair wages and fair treatment for our families. We stayed on the job throughout the pandemic while everybody was working from home. We couldn't work from home. We made sure that the hospitals were functioning. We made sure that home heating oil was available to New Yorkers. We made sure that the ambulances and so forth were fueled, and the transit buses and so forth. So we are essential. We are considered essential, but we were not treated as essential workers. We were considered heroes at the time, but not treated as heroes. We're mostly an immigrant and we were mostly of color and immigrant workforce. And so we've been ill-treated partially because of this. I'm a father of 3 daughters, and I want to be paid the same wages as our industry standards. The other workers in our industry are paid an average of $8 per hour more than we are, and that's not fair to us. We expect more from this because we provide that kind of service. We voted to form a union way back in 2019, and negotiations started right away. We negotiated for 2 years, but went nowhere. John Katsimatidis is the CEO and owner of the company, and he wouldn't budge. This name should sound familiar to most of us. He's very good friends with our mayor, Eric Adams, and that should be part of our concern also. He doesn't think that we deserve the same wages as the other workers in our industry. So, after negotiation and much ado, we decided to strike to get justice for our families. Mr. Katsimatidis, in this case, retaliated against us. And on that first day of strike, I got the letter that I'm being permanently replaced. And he targeted me because I am the leader. So I was fired in retaliation for the strike. In addition to that, 9 other members of our strike were dismissed. But the National Labor Relations Board decided that the firings violated federal law. I am here to say that instead of standing with the workers, New York City is standing with somebody like John Katsimatidis in mistreating us, a company that is mistreating us. Despite that, they're still buying oil from him. They're still continuing to do millions of dollars in business with this company. We desperately need your help. New York City should not be doing business with companies that mistreat our workers and underpay immigrants like myself. We're here to ask that you look into this and stand with the workers instead of an abusive company. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much for your meaningful testimony. Thank you. Up next, we have Sinead Wadsworth.
Hello, good morning, Chair De La Rosa. My name is Sanad Wadsworth. I am an organizer for the New York City District Council of Carpenters, and let me just say that this hearing is amazing. I say that because it's not easy being an organizer, and I echo everyone's sentiments on this call. When you talk about retaliation, you talk about workers' rights, when you talk about people getting fired from their job and they have families to feed, right? Those are serious, serious issues. And with that being said, you asked earlier, what can be done? What can the city do, right? Create a task force. Create a task force with people that are actually doing the work, people that are on the ground, and the people that are not afraid to speak up for what's right, right? Doing or being an organizer is, again, it's not easy, right? Sometimes you're literally putting your life on the line to represent people who can't represent themselves, right? So when you talk about the immigrants who come here for a better life, it is so, so, so important that we create pathways for them to become citizens, because that's also an issue, right? If they cannot be organized, or there's barriers to organizing our most vulnerable people like immigrants, right? How can we move forward? To me, I think that's the biggest piece of this as well, right? Bringing them up to citizenship, trying to eliminate that, because how do we stand together when we can't stand together? Thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak here today. And again, everybody on the call, keep up the good fight in solidarity. Have a good day, y'all.
Thank you, Ms. Wadsworth. I know we have you on the panel, but we don't have your card, so if you could just say your name for the, say that again?
Victor Castellano. How are you, Chairman? I'm just here in support today for Andre. I have retired, but I'm still not retired from fighting for what's right for people. This was a fight that was brought to me probably back in 2018, and as Andre pointed out, we did organize and have a vote to have them join our local back in 2019. We've tried to negotiate with the employer. You've at one point blamed the pandemic, but once we got rolling by Zoom meetings and stuff, it still went nowhere. He just doesn't want to do what's right and pay what the rest of the industry pays.
Thank you so much for being here in solidarity and for your testimony. I do have some questions for the panel. I wanted to ask specifically about the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection. I asked some of the panelists before, but the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection and the Office of Labor and Policy Standards is charged with educating employers about their obligation under the workers' rights laws to build a culture of compliance. Are any of you aware of any of the DCWP OLPS resources on these topics? Is this information that has gotten to the workers, the resources that are available to you through these offices? Just answer if anyone has any comments.
I'm aware of them, but I don't know that they made it into workers' hands.
Right. It's not widespread and commonly known at our company.
Great. And then the same with the municipal labor protections, including Fair Work Week, scheduling laws, paid sick leave laws. Do any of you all readily receive information you need in order to protect your rights from the city? And do violations for these worker protections, in your opinion, require stronger enforcement at this time?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll say, again, it's not getting into the worker's hands, and then when the worker does ask, he or she is scared to speak up and ask those questions.
Great. Well, we thank you all for being here, for your courage, your bravery to tell your stories. We appreciate our partners in labor. We know that organized labor is the way to combat some of the most egregious violations that we've seen from corporate employers, particularly, that have been abusive to our city's workforce. And so we thank you for your for coming here, for your bravery, and also we look forward to following up on the individual cases and seeing how we can continue to support. Thank you so much for coming. So our last panel here, we have Gabriela Piñeros. If you wanna, do you wanna testify now? You're good? Okay. So we're gonna do Michelle Barnaby and Ruben Colon, who I believe are on the Zoom. You can begin, Michelle, whenever you're ready.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. And let me just pull up. Got it. Thank you, Chair De La Rosa, for your thoughtful comments throughout this whole testimony. Morning, and members of City Council on the Civil Service and Labor, for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Michelle Burnaby, and I am a mental health nurse that has served in psych ERs across the city, inpatient units, as well as addiction and rehab centers. I would like to also thank the people who spoke on behalf of unionizing at Starbucks for their mentioning mental health, because I do think that labor is deeply intertwined with the mental health crisis. And if we are ever to be serious about resolving the crisis we see with mental health, we need to imagine a world where fairness and equity and ownership is given to workers. So I am a member of New York State Nurses Association, which represents over 40,000 nurses. We have more than 9,000 members working for New York City Health and Hospitals. And as a member of this great city, we are all connected and share a history. We share commitment to justice and equality. We come from different backgrounds and we have different experiences and perspectives, but we are all united by a common vision for a better future for ourselves and our families and our communities. And that vision, as we've all been talking about, includes the right and protection of every worker. The pandemic has given people the opportunity to reflect on the structural natures of inequalities that hurt the city's workforce. To me, we saw the separation of two classes of humans: those who got to enjoy being at home during the pandemic, who were able to work, order food and groceries without ever leaving the comfort of their homes, and then the other class of humans, the city's essential workers, who had no such luxuries and for a while lived to serve the needs of the other class. In nursing, this played out with hospital management working from the comfort and safety of their homes, while all other workers in our hospitals were categorized as essential. Nurses cared for municipal employees and private sector workers that contracted COVID-19, and hundreds of nurses died while serving the city to keep it running. But the bright and positive note is our members had the protection of collective bargaining agreements that provided fair wages during this, proper protections during this. Yep. And without, unionized protections, many people did not get that safety. And so we're here in solidarity to hope and dream that everyone can have that safety.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And we have deep respect for the nurses and for NYSNA. So thank you so much for being here and for your thoughtful comments as well. We're gonna ask Ruben Colon to please begin when he's ready.
Hi there, thank you for having us. I'm with the New York City District Council of Carpenters. I'm a colleague of Sanat Wadsworth. I am also an organizer for over 12 years now. She pointed out that maybe it would be within our interest, right, to maybe put together some type of task force composed of labor, organized labor, community-based organizations, maybe a couple of agencies, to work on these very same issues. They have to be addressed. It's my opinion, and I believe the opinion of the folks I work for, the New York City District Council of Carpenters, that an unrepresented worker, an undocumented worker is an unrepresented worker and therefore doesn't have a voice. We try to be that voice in absentia, if you will. Workers that are not documented pose a restriction for us in organizing. We need a social security number in order to bring them into the union. Our contractors use E-Verify. That all capitalizes on the whole use of a social security number. ITIN numbers I can't work with, and it becomes a bar to organizing. I dare say up to 40% of the construction workforce out there are undocumented workers. They go without representation. They're dying a dozen a year, and something needs to be done. We need our agencies, city agencies, to step forward and enforce the laws. Contractors who are using undocumented workers need to be fined. This is not about deporting workers. I'm a Latino myself. These are my people. I think a task force would be the way to go to maybe review and see what can be changed, and maybe, you know, create some type of path towards citizenship. I'm sure most of these folks, that's what's primary on their mind, not necessarily joining a union. That often comes afterwards, right? We need to focus on the problems at hand, and it sets a complete bar for us with regard to organizing. That's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Colon. I also have deep respect for the District Council of Carpenters. I hear you on the need to, have a path to citizenship. That's a federal issue that I support and feel deeply passionate. However, I must state that undocumented workers are workers in our city, are workers in our state. And personally, I feel that we have an obligation to also ensure that those workers are not exploited and they have access to a just economy that includes them. So I appreciate your suggestions here today. I look forward to working with you, with District Council of Carpenters, to ensure that our workforce does not continue to be exploited. Thank you so much for your testimony. So we're doing a last call for witnesses. If you're on the Zoom and you wish to speak, please raise your hand. Use the raise hand function now in order to be called on. If there are any other folks in here who haven't testified and would like to, please also let us know. Seeing none, I would like to thank you all for being here. I'm so looking forward to the passage of these two incredible resolutions, moving the mission of protecting workers in our city forward. I am eternally inspired and grateful for the workers who have used their voices today to have accountability in the way that we continue to conduct business in New York City. New York City is a union town, but it should not just be a talking point. It should be a call to action. And so I'm grateful for everyone who was here. And as a reminder, anyone can submit written testimony to testimony@council.nyc.gov up to 72 hours after the conclusion of today's hearing. Thank you so much, and this meeting is adjourned.